I want to go over some different approaches that I'll use to generate a center line sometimes. Now, on this job, what we do is we've got a bunch of shots that were taken in the field that represent points all around here. And I've got to make a center line out of this. So the approach is, because I don't have a true center line, I'm going to work off one of the edges and kind of come to the center. So let me show you some of the settings, at least in Carlson, that I use to kind of get these things put together to make some sense. Now, there's a lot of different settings here, even though it doesn't seem like there's that much. I always want to try to make these curves tangential, because if we get too much of uh, an angle change from one to another, it's going to cause machines to jump. So this makes a better looking center line, but sometimes it causes problems. Now this is a pretty big snap tolerance, so let's kind of bring it down to, well, let me just kind of show you some things here. So here's 2500ths, and I want a good number of points, and radius I really don't care about. And we're going to come here and pick this polyline, and I see now that my average residual is about a half a foot, and the max is a little bit over 3. That's just too much. So let's go back in and at the space bar, bring up the command again, and let's get a little bit tougher here and see what we can get as far as a decent looking center line. Again, I still got a half a foot. I'm over 2 foot, not good enough. So what we have to do is really get kind of tough with this thing and hold it tight. So I'm just going to really push this hard and increase the number, the point for the arc, and say OK, and pick this. And now we're going to get a lot better result. Now I've still got a little bit over a foot residual in one spot, or at least the max. And I'm going to kind of scroll down here and kind of look, and it seems to be in an area over here that's fine. I may have to redraw that or just take a look at that individually, but for the most part it's pretty decent. And you can see this actual line, the white line is on top of the red line, and here's a deviation here that you can see between the two. So it usually works out okay, but sometimes I've really got to take it and crunch it to get it to perform better. So what we've got to do now is turn this into a center line, and pick on this here, and this is a close center line, so I'm there, and we're going to replace this, and we'll pick the center line here. And what I want to do, it's going the wrong way, so I'm going to type an R to reverse, and then my stationing is at 154 in a pair to start with, and I'm going to take a look. Now here's the good and the bad thing about these center lines is they look real great, but when you look at them individually, we just got a bunch of line segments. Yeah, it's kind of a drag. They're all really short because that's what we told the program to do, was to come in and break these arcs up into tangent sections, and we're just going to kind of have to live with it unless somebody wants to really sit and draw this thing out and try to make it work with arcs and so forth. It's not real pretty, and the Kogo to try to turn into something else becomes a real problem. So I think that you can use this, but you got to understand what this thing is and how it's performing and what pieces you have to make this thing go together. So with that being said, you've got one of the pieces put together to make this thing happen, and that's a pretty big deal. So you're well on the way to getting a rehab project done, because at least now we do have a center line.